What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Things Super. I am one of your hosts, Spider, and I am joined once again by Mr. VIP Franklin Washington. How are you doing today, sir?
I am so awesome. It hurts. Not me. It hurts you. If you're hurting my awesomeness. How are you, sir?
Oh, I am doing great. I'm doing great. We are getting a trailer, finally, for Loki Season 2. And
Finally, Loki has come back
I think that this
to
is
the MCU.
needed right now.
Came to save the multiverse is what he did.
He came to save the multiverse. That was not his original plan.
No, he's the new Tony Stark. He's from the old school. He's the perfect anti-hero, villain.
Anti-villain?
They got one right. One of those is right. He's Loki.
He is.
Prince of Ass,
But how
Odin's other son.
How is he
The one he kidnapped.
new Tony Stark?
Because they're basing it all on Loki. Loki is the one who killed He Who Remains. In a sense, he won. Loki saved the multiverse. But in the chaos of saving the multiverse, you also broke the multiverse. And now you have to fix it. So now you have to deal with Kang on so many levels and so many aspects because you know what he's going to do and you know that he succeeds in doing it. So you need to nip this in the bud, like it's too late already. like you shouldn't have did what you did, but how can you deny doing it? It wasn't you, but it was a version of you.
Yes.
But at the same time, you scripted it. Well, Kane scripted it, so it can be an option of you, and maybe even meet you to fall in love with you self. Interesting how Kane plan came together, but Loki has to deal with himself in the sense of he would have did the same thing if it was him. This Loki just looked at it from a different perspective and say, wait, let's not get rash into this. Let's think about it. But you think about the old Lokis, the ones that stabby first and then ask questions later.
Right.
That's where Sylvie was coming from because she's been running her whole life. I don't care who you are, dude. You've been chasing me my whole life, trying to kill me.
Right. And the thing about it is, as we saw in the first season, this Loki is not the Loki that we grew accustomed to in Thor, The Dark World, and Thor, Love and Thunder. Not Thor, Love and Thunder, Thor Ragnarok, going into Infinity War, where this Loki had time to progress through the falling out that he's had with his brother and, you know, coming to terms with who he is and where he's come from and being accepted by Thor, or realizing that he was already accepted by Thor, you know, and then going out, sacrificing himself.
That Loki's dead.
Yeah, that Loki's dead.
Yeah. So
no resurrections this one. Yes, and so here is another Loki, and, you know, he had the question that he asked, you know, are Lokis always destined to lose? Because he really felt, you know, in the two times that he tried to, you know, come into power, he ended up losing with, you know, trying to take over Asgard and then trying to take over New York with the Chitauri. He's lost both times, but he's...
ain't a good streak.
Even though he's of that mindset of, you know, he's Loki, he's been burdened with glorious power, and he has this plan.
Glorious purpose.
Glorious purpose. This plan that he wants to enact, he still, at the end of the day, was like, hold on, let's talk about this. You know, and
the reflection time.
That shows that deep down inside, Loki was always this person. You know, regardless of the tricks that he was pulling and the cons that he was trying to succeed in and the games he was trying to play, at his heart's core, when it comes down to it, he's still, you know, that type of person. He's still Loki.
Hey, sometimes it's hard to fight who you are. You gotta accept it.
That is true.
And then be better, which he is, and that's why I said they centered it around him as the new Tony Stark, because he's the hero going into this multiversal catastrophe. You see it. This multiverse is broken.
It is in
The
shambles.
Sonyverse is inside of the MCU, and
The MCU
Vulture's
is in the
over in
Sonyverse.
Morbius,
Yeah.
and like what Doctor Strange botched the spell, but none of these things would have happened if He Who Remains would have still been alive. He
Right.
scripted all of this stuff together, and Loki killed him and broke the multiverse. And now he's trying to fix the multiverse. So you're now following somebody's adventure on how you're going to. It's the needle that starts to pull this whole MCU phase together, and then we're so thankful that it's here because it's been in shambles since then. Starting phase forward, like, okay, we're gonna do the they announced it, we're gonna do the multiverse saga, and everyone's like, yay! But now it's like, uh, and
Like, what's really going on?
you and I talked about this before many times on this channel. You had to do this. You had to do a hard reset after Endgame because it was such a crescendo. You've got this whole wave of new people and you want to do new stuff, but your stakes got to be dropped down to the bottom again so you can rise again.
Right.
They did that. They went in the dirt. They went in the dirt with some of these shows and made sure they made all kind of errors so they can have a lot of loose ends to tie up and a lot of plot holes that they could come back with.
Wouldn't wouldn't that just be the most fuck you meta commentary of like trying to stick it to the fans, where if after all of this goes down, all of the plot holes, and I know if they did this, it would just be like, oh, this is our easy way to write ourselves out of this. But we kind of talked about this off recording about some theorists saying that, you know, just have Galactus comes in, eat the world, and we'll be done with Earth 19999, or, you know, whatever they're wanting to call this MCU Earth, and then we can start fresh on another Earth. We can have mutants, we can have Inhumans, we can have, you know, all of these other classes that we've yet to have in this MCU, because that wasn't necessarily the goal when it started it. But what if at the end of all of this, all of the plot holes, all of the continuity errors, they just say, oh, that's because we're living in a broken timeline or in a broken universe, and everything that wasn't supposed to happen or didn't happen right, it's because we were in that broken universe, and that's why everything's fucked up. That's why we can let Galactus come in and eat it, because that's not the real Earth that you've been watching for the last 15 years. We're all already over here somewhere else.
If they're not saying that in your overall story, they're sure giving us a whole lot of sub stories that's leading up to it.
Right.
Because a lot of this stuff is rushed, underdeveloped, under character driven. I'm just talking about the shows overall on Disney. Since the inception of the having Marvel do their Disney Plus shows, you had some hits, you had some misses, like Kevin, the artificial intelligence says, but at the same time, they're telling a story, and they need something to happen as far as incursions. And incursion is going to happen. These two worlds are going to have to come together, and you're going to have to pick your favorite heroes to go against your favorite heroes and villains.
Yeah,
both sides, because that's a storyline that they're going to tell, and we'll stumble, but we'll get there
eventually,
at some point.
But
I think the idea is to go bankrupt until that point, because that's why they got Loki. Get that Loki project queued up. Get that Loki project queued up immediately, because after Secret Invasion, we need to. Stock numbers were shaking. They're looking at Marvel like, hey, you know, they said that they're going to start developing more Star Wars projects, and they kind of took the pressure off of Marvel.
Yeah, because I mean, I've been seeing like the announcements of more and more Star Wars shows coming to Disney Plus.
Again, I don't know if that's good or bad, because
I mean, I guess in the sense of characters and universe, Star Wars is a lot more expansive, so they have things that they can, different stories that they can tell to follow around different characters that have been introduced into movies across the years. So having Disney Plus focus on, pushing out more Star Wars stuff for the Star Wars fans, that's up to them whether that's what they want or if that's something that they would enjoy or not. But I think that easing back on the MCU properties that are coming out, allowing us to have more time to sit with a character, to care about a character, to learn about a character, and having more time to develop the production side of it, of the CG and the writing, and getting the proper shots, and having that time, because you have more time now. So if you need to go back and do reshoots because something's not working, then we can get back to the quality of movies that we had in the first couple of phases. Now, even in the first few phases, we had some hits. We also had some misses. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, but I think that being able to digest a character and live with them for a little bit before having to jump into the very next thing. February we have this show. May we have this show that has nothing to do with the show that came out in February. In June we got a movie that's coming out that have to do with the show that came out in February. In November we got a movie coming out that has nothing to do with any of those that came out this year. Oh, but we're introducing this new character that you're going to see in another movie 3 years down the line.
Welcome to the MCU.
At some
Yes,
point, you have
sir.
to realize that what worked in the beginning was being able to sit with one particular character, learn about that character, care about that character, interstitially introduce more characters, and then have them come together in a small, um, a group team up movie. And then after you have the multiple group team up movies, then you can bring out the Infinity War and the End Game, where you're ultimately bringing all the groups together.
See, this is what I'm telling you. Still, we stabby. So the multiverse is no. See what happened when she stabbed Jonathan Major's character Kang. She stabbed the MCU. She stabbed.
Yeah,
It was a
that's what happened.
metal blade, and she stabbed too deep. Yeah, that friend. You stab. It's like, you got me. Like, and they keep like, oh,
They
stop.
keep like, no,
You're
seriously,
killing me.
seriously,
Talking
I'm
about
dead. I'm
screen.
dead.
That was so funny in the Wayne's Brothers movie. I think I'm dying, man. Anyway, the point I'm saying is she changed things,
Yeah,
and things is all screwed up. But now it's Marvel's way of saying, "Oh, yeah, that's what it was," and now we can learn from our mistakes and we can
hopefully.
be better. Well, less is more, I guess, in a sense. Taking away their budget. Do you feel like that was a slap on the wrist, though? Was that the penalty for not continuing to produce billion dollar? You think Daddy Projects
I feel like
productions like
if
you're not bringing in the bees, you're on timeout.
I feel
Get your
like
stuff.
if that's a punishment, that's it's a double bladed sword.
Oh yeah, all double bladed.
Not all swords,
If you,
but
no, not all swords. Just if you sharpen the other side.
yeah, but a double edged sword is what I meant. But if you take the budget away from these shows, and the show has less,
Get a
is of
secret invasion.
a lower quality, then how is that helping you in the long run? Because you're taking the money away from the show, then the show doesn't do well. Show doesn't do well, then the property, the studio doesn't do well. The studio doesn't do well, then they produce less shows. Then you're in the end, the corporation's making less money. So I don't see why they would take a budget away from.
Because if I take half, okay, so some of the best films are done on a shoestring budget or close to it, not a big budget. It
Mhm.
causes your writers to write better. It's the law of taking it away to appreciate what you have, and you find a way to make it more
It's all the way like
organic. I didn't say that it's 100 proof, but I think it's a gamble that you do because you get those more motivational stories like why would they do this or how would that affect them and dealing with the fallouts of those stories in details and spots and then some parts spots you can assume that the audience know what happened, but at the same time, overall, you're getting exactly that because, like you said, this is not our original Loki. This Loki, the
right.
Loki that time jumped through Avengers first one, but we had enough time with him because we've seen the events that would happen inside of Loki. he's seen his whole other life that he could have lived, and he still died.
Right.
And it's like, wow, wow. So this Loki, again, if you didn't like any of that Loki, he's gone. This is like a fresh Loki with the familiarity of this Loki. But we've seen this Loki do some things in season 1 that we didn't know Lokis could do. But again, this is new Loki.
Yeah.
But this one was definitely more raised by his mom from what we've seen in season 1 that can do magic. Magic.
I mean, he's always done the magic. I guess we've just never seen his full extent of his abilities.
I love the fact that they let Loki fight.
Yeah.
When he started fighting in Ragnarok, I was like, oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because it's crazy that you think, oh, Thor is his brother, and how roughhousing and fighty Thor was in Thor 1, that he wouldn't fight.
Right. But
they
I guess they just showed it as Loki is smart enough to know how to talk himself out of a fight or to trick himself out of a fight.
Yeah, but that would mean he couldn't. And I appreciate them showing that he could. I hope to see some more fighting from Loki instead of less magic.
Oh, we'll see. Let's take a look at the trailer, the official trailer for Loki Season 2.
Deuce.
Obi? Hello? We have a little bit of a situation we wanted to run by you.
Tobias! Wow.
Hilarious.
Great to see you again.
You hey Quan. Okay, we're glitching.
That's what's been happening.
Wow.
Oh,
Time
okay.
shopping.
Wait, times you know that?
Yeah.
You've seen that?
Yeah.
Can you fix that?
No. It's in the time slot of NBA.
I know, but we just saw it happen.
Right, because they're outside
They're
of
outside
time.
of time, right.
I've been pulled through time between
Oh,
past
wow.
and present. Hello? If what I saw is true, there's nothing to stand between this world and utter destruction.
Oh, wow.
Find out.
Dang.
Fashion leg work.
Why do you use his foot?
Different styles. You're a man of
Mobius
action,
is
which
a weird
fine.
guy. Oh, there's your magic.
I take a more slow, deliberate, cerebral approach. It's really goodbye.
Hilarious. We got a date. We finally got a date.
To save this place.
Is this cracked?
That's horrible engineering.
We're playing God.
We are gods.
Stabby.
Oh, Renslayer's back.
But how do you
Timeline is running out.
choose who lives and who dies? Make the hard choice. It's him.
Monster Miss Minutes.
Come on, you're the god of mischief.
Always have been. Always will be.
A little over the top, don't you think?
I thought it was spot on.
Over 6.
It's all about the. I think that's probably one of the coolest things they could do if they like redid. It was the Jamie Foxx one that he did, Jazz, Soul.
Yo,
And
yeah.
they throw that snap in there with a little beat. You heard it here first. At All Things Super.
Man,
Loki's back.
Loki is back, and I don't want to get excited
Yes,
or
yeah.
too anxious about a show.
Tell a friend.
It,
Loki's back. Loki's back. Loki's back. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
gonna be another one that's gonna be 6 episodes.
Well, I know we talk about this all the time, right? can't do it in 6. But I will say this. You could do this in 6.
Yeah.
Because the reason why is because he preferenced it that this is out of time. These events, there's no telling when this took place. It doesn't affect anything. So you can go as far in the future and as deep in the past. You can go. Your story has to exist on a. This is why. This is why in the industry that writers kind of stay away from time, because you're gonna have to deal with these time elements and what part that they play in time. How does it affect the overall MCU? It's because it gives us our point, because we know in the multiverse, time really has no bearings, and at the same time, it has a lot of bearings on it. You know, so we have the point now where we can stop it. We have to, but again, spoiler, we didn't, because he already won. So. But it's cool to see the steps on what we're going to try to do to stop it from happening again. And the twist is, how can we change it from being what it was before to what it needs to be without the Tartarian rule? Because that's what we're talking about. Who's going to control the multiverse?
And
we got to get it fixed.
It's very interesting how they stayed away, and this is just in speculation.
Why did you slip it?
That's a great question. Because he was at wherever the Citadel when time broke.
Right.
So maybe with him being outside of time, when time broke and now he's back in, and maybe that's why. So it may be happening to both him and Sylvie.
What if they're locked in to whatever storyline Kane has crafted for them after his demise? You don't really think that he would just die without a contingency plan, right? Would he? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I don't think that
Clearly after the end of Loki. Well, at Loki, Miss Minutes was telling Ravonna the Renslayer he had a plan. So I think he had a plan either way.
Possible.
Kind of a backdoor in. You got to go back and watch Loki season 1. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, I know Spider knows what I'm talking about. When Ravonna Renslayer was leaving at the end of Loki season 1, she was talking to Miss Minutes, and Miss Minutes was telling her this is what he thinks is best. So, and she's like, I'm out, going to find freedom. But I'm pretty sure they were meeting up or something like that.
But it looks fun. It looks like a lot of fun.
I think they can get away with 6 because it's outside of time.
I don't know if that has a lot to do with it. I think that it's just because, at least because season 1 was 6 episodes as well. I mean, I think that it was just a better crafted story. Because I don't think the passage of time has really anything to do with why we're getting these 6 and 8 episode shows, and they're not hitting, and they're not going into a cohesive. It's not telling a cohesive story. It's making a lot of weird decisions and weird moves. But I think with Loki being 6 episodes, they pace it out fairly well.
Yeah.
To where I think the only episode that kind of slowed down a little bit was when they were trying to, get on the train so they could escape to get to the shuttle and everything. And I think that was designed to slow things down a little bit. And, that following that exploring that whole love aspect. But I think that was really the only time that the show really kind of slowed its pace down a little bit. But even
I just want
still,
to say shout out to the production team that did all this set dressing
yeah,
and did all these timepieces.
right. Because you have a lot of them. I think in the trailer alone, I saw like at least 3 or 4.
Look at the set design. That's crazy. It looks so factory, like they really just working for the system. It's almost like they're going co-op missions in time. They got their. I'll say by this trailer, it looks like they got what brought them to the dance. Stabby, stabby.
You think it's gonna be more stabby stabby? I mean, it seemed like
She,
it. Sylvie
you
had
got a
a
knife
sword
on
out.
you. You got it on you. Might as well use it, right? So I don't
And
know who's getting
who? I'm
stabbed.
guessing who do we think that Mark Paul Gosselaar, aka Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell? I wonder what character he's playing because we see him in a couple of shots throughout the trailer. We see him; he's the one in the alley that the Loki and Sylvie shadows are kind of like getting a hold of.
I think that's just Loki shot. Well, it's technically
Well, Loki. Well, she said she wanted to go by Sylvie.
This is true, and I respect her decision.
But I'm not, I don't know.
Uh,
I'm not familiar with. I guess I mean I can't say I'm familiar with any Loki characters because I feel like all of this is being sort of
See,
manufactured
let
for the
Loki
show.
fight.
I don't know. I don't know who he could be or what his part in all of this would be.
You think Tom Hiddleston regrets not being Thor?
No,
I don't think
I
so.
don't
Not
think
at
he
all.
does because I
I don't
think
think he
that
does at all.
with Tom's frame, can you imagine him getting Jack to be Thor?
No, I think he plays Loki like no other. He's
I agree with
made
that.
this character his own, and he is now the new Iron Man of the MCU because he's not the OG Loki, but he's a character that we know he got a pass.
Mhm.
And this one's trying not to be like that one, but he's still he's in some stuff because of his past. But at this point in time, what can he do but fix it? You know what I mean? You can't go into another life and live in existence because Kane's coming. You know he's coming. Any piece of time that you go into, any multiverse that you go into, it's only a matter of time before you have to deal with him. So he's picking up the fight and say, we got to bring the fight to him. We got to find him. We got to stop him and convince him Morpheus, Morpheus, Morpheus that this
Mobius.
Mobius creeps in there. Mobius that is going to be something to be seen because at the end of season one, he didn't even know who Loki was.
No, it's not him. Somebody else.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
He
I
looked
know.
like him. I don't know. So maybe that's not Mark Paul Gosselaar. He
I'm
favored him
thinking
looking
he'll.
like it. Look when he got out of
I
the
think
car, it
he.
favored him.
I think he appreciates the shout out, and the other gentleman probably doesn't like that fact that you don't know who he is.
Oh, we
He's
see
wearing a
Sylvie got her horn
scarf.
fixed. Or
I think that's
was
just
that
Loki.
was that both Loki shadows?
Yes, I think
Oh,
he
okay.
multiplied his shadows. He told you he learned from his mama. His mama taught him that.
I thought it was the two of them.
Loki,
No, because that
the
one on
new Tony
the
Stark.
one this looks like Sylvie.
That is Sylvie, but that's not Sylvie in the alley. It's just Loki.
So why would he be projecting the shadow of Sylvie if he's only in a alley by himself?
I think he just made two shadows of himself.
Yeah,
You ever had a shadow
guess.
be more than one?
No.
If you
I
said,
understand that. I just thought that there was two different character models. Is what I'm saying.
oh, I understand exactly what you're saying, but I could be wrong. I think it's just Loki right there with his eyes glowing green projecting two different shadow Lokis that's holding the man down. And if that's not scary, I don't know how he hidden defecate himself because
I mean, he's wearing a black tux. He might have. You just can't see.
that's why Deadpool say you wear the black pants.
What you say? That's why he wears brown pants.
They got two black shadows holding me. Sir, give me the black pants. Because they're going to shit themselves, not get free.
That, I guess it's not him. Looking at it now.
I can't make it him.
No, I can't make it him. But he's somewhat of importance.
He's clearly,
What did that sign say?
Maybe an actor. What's
Marry
that they
me,
say in The Matrix?
Brad Wolf.
There you go. Even in The Matrix, it said, make me somebody important, like an actor.
Looking
So
at that
maybe
sign
he's
right
an
there.
actor. He's Brad Wolf.
Brad Wolf, yeah.
And get abducted by shadow people.
So, do we think that this is the only version of Kang that we see in Loki season 2?
Listen, Kang wins, but
That's not
in
answering
the
my question.
No, hold on. Kang wins, but in
Okay.
the MCU, Kang has lost. Once with Sylvie getting stabby, and then he got beat up by some ants. That's the word on the street. I'm just saying what it was. They say ants was there. You got drug out like a little, and you try to fight, and then you got sucked down into a teleporter. So that's just what they say. So that's 2 L's right there.
Right.
As a character. If they don't start establishing how this dude is the biggest, baddest threat in the multiverse, you better start doing it now because people not feeling him as a threat. And again, we talked about this many times. You depower your villains and you depower your heroes because you build them up again. We know it. It's in storytelling. A lot of people don't like that,
I
but
don't
it
think
makes
you
more
should
of
have
a...
to depower your villains. Build your villains
Well-
up. I think your villain should already be powered up enough to where you as an audience think that, oh shit, there's no way we're going to get out of this because there's no way to beat this person.
Well, they want to give you motivations. So what you're seeing, if I dare to say it, a King origin story. You're gonna see
think
what
so?
motivated King. Yes, 100%. You got to see him at the end, and then you start to see him at the beginning,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna see how he became King. If they decide to do a Nathaniel Richards in the Young Avengers, you're gonna see his time as a Young Avenger and say, these are the events that made him become who he is. And you'll know at the end of it, he can't be on the throne. Dude unstable.
So then that means that
So-
we'll also be going into the future and also going into the past.
Time has no relevance. They can do what they want. Because even if it's not in Loki, if it's a spin-off show, you can see what happens and make Kang who Kang is. And we got all the way up to Secret Wars and then the Dynasty of Kangs to wrap it up. So you wanted more villain, they're going to give you more villain, and Loki is the one that's going to do it. He's the leader of the MCU now.
Do we think that this time slipping is the same or similar to the dimensional glitching that we saw in Into the Spider-Verse?
You know what? It's a phenomenal question.
Because I mean, there are some stark differences. Because with Into the Spider-Verse, it was alternate realities, whereas in Loki, he's slipping through time. But is it time or timelines? Because and I know we had that conversation before about the difference between your timelines and your alternate reality dimension, your alternate universes. So if he's slipping through time, because the timeline, the sacred timeline is broken, is he slipping through
Right.
time on one timeline, or is he slipping through time on multiple timelines? Because it's broken.
I can't see how it wouldn't be multiple timelines. In fact, when he came back after season 1 ended, I think he had entered a new timeline.
You're right.
clearly because the 3 time statues were gone, and
And it was a
the
statue
one
of
with
Kang.
Kane was there.
Mobius or B-15 didn't know who he was.
Exactly. So he can definitely go across time lines, and I can't say that it wouldn't be a multiverse of having many Lokis because you've seen there's many variants, but was the variants from the same timeline, or the variants were from the multiverse? That's a question that I would have. But at the same point, this one is trying to save the multiverse in whatever multiversal storyline they're telling.
Is he trying to save the multiverse, or is he trying to restore the sacred timeline? Because those are, in fact, two different things.
Here's the thing. I want to make it even more confusing because I recently learned about multiversal theory, and I was like, yeah, wait till they start to adapt those.
That's a fifth dimension of chess that I don't want to get into.
I've already played there. It's awesome. I win. What I'm saying, if he's going to correct the sacred timeline, he's going to have to deal with the biggest threat for the multiverse in every timeline, I guess, which will be a Kang.
Yeah.
So now you get to see.
I'm interested. I'm definitely interested. The trailer has got me intrigued. After, we left Secret Invasion, I was like, is this the end of, the
Stock prices were dropping. They're like, get that Loki trailer out there. Hurry up.
Because, I mean, if you watched or listened to our Secret Invasion episode, you know that it wasn't a show for me, and it wasn't one that I got excited about.
I don't think it was a show for anyone. I think it's nobody watched.
I'm sure that there's some people that enjoyed it.
I mean, they didn't use the Rotten Tomatoes app. I know that.
Well, I mean, it's not at a 0, so they had some people that kept it above 20% probably.
Yeah, I think it was at 17, something like that.
Was it that low?
It was low. Hey, no press is bad good press. I mean, yeah. Hey, look at Loki. What's going on with Casey? Is Casey's running the fugitive from? There's a lot going on.
I don't know. I think that's just a Casey in another universe or another timeline, and alternate timelines, alternate lives.
Who's throwing taxes through time? I want to hit Casey in the face. And why is he fighting the Minutemen again if he's on the TVA side? Yeah. So many questions.
Asking a lot of questions that we don't have an answer to right now. 55% on Rotten Tomatoes. 55 average tomato meter, 52% average audience. It wasn't that low.
Oh, how low can you go?
I mean, positive starts at 60%, I think. So it's like only a little bad, according to Rotten Tomatoes.
For Secret Invasion?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. It's an awesome show. Sure.
No, nobody said it was awesome. Nobody even uttered those words.
So, MCU. Listen, Loki is here to save the multiverse. So somebody's got to deal with Kang. And the rest of the multiverse, we don't even know Kang exists. We haven't even seen a story outside the 2 losses that he had. So, I think Jonathan Majors signed on for 9 movies when he...
9 movies or just 9 properties?
Well, properties, you know how an MCU contract reads. You better get a lawyer to read it twice.
I wish I knew how an MCU contract read. I mean, I had a contract with the MCU.
Yeah, they probably write it on invisible paper or something like that and just sign at the bottom. I heard Elizabeth Olsen talk about how they used to come and get her in a van and you didn't know where you were going. You didn't know who was there. That's a horrible experience. Like, that's not something that you want to sign up for.
The way that the MCU has developed and people want to get leaks and spoilers and all this other kind of stuff, they got to keep things close. Yes.
Good thing Loki's here to do what he has to do to save the MCU because it needs some help.
We will see if Loki can, in fact, save the MCU. October
He's our
6th.
hero now.
October 6th, streaming on Disney Plus, Loki Season 2. Let us know what you thought about the Loki Season 2 trailer and what you thought about this episode. But just remember, if you like the episode, go ahead, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio version of the podcast, just search for All Things Super on your favorite podcast streaming platform. And if you want to join in on the conversation, just tweet at us at ATSuperPod.
And leave comments. We like reading comments.
Leave
We
comments,
like to
we
read
like to
the
read the
comments all day. Loki, season 2, October 6th. Disney.
Didn't catch it. No, they did.
You know that's how it goes. But if you saw the video, you seen the action. I got it high in the camera so you can see it. Insert plus there.
Insert snap there. But thank you.
There you go.
Thank you all so much for joining us. We appreciate all the support. And we will see you all in the next episode. But until then, keep being super.